All right, so first day of March, let's break it down with a recap. We'll jump on the screen share. $5,551.71. Daily goal, first day of the month. That's a great start. And it's especially great because I did it in 47 minutes. I know because I sat down at 7 a.m. and I had to leave out the door at 7:50 and I left at 7:47 because I had to drive my kids to school today. Now, normally I have someone else that'll do that, but today I had to. So that cut my morning short, but in 47 minutes, locking up $5,500 of profit, I can't complain. That's awesome. All right, so let's go back to the beginning. Now, I was up relatively early this morning and I looked at the scans on my phone and I saw MINM was, I guess it was like the second leading gapper this morning. There were a couple others. Let's see. I'm actually going to open my gap scan. Where is it? Looking for top gappers here. So, right. Okay. So we had NXU. This was, I got to link the color. All right. So we'll link it there. NXU. This one was up, I guess 53% at the open. You know, it's a stock that's been beaten up for a long time, as you can see here. It's, I mean, it's like really been hammered. That almost looks like a Chinese stock. Let's just double check. Let's see. I didn't actually end up looking that closely at it. So, let's see. Interesting. Nope, it's an Arizona company. All right. Well, nonetheless, it still has a terrible track record. So, at least in terms of stock performance. So, it sells off for forever. Now, these can be great for a bounce off the low, you know, but the thing is, it's still pretty cheap for me. And I don't really make a lot of money on this price range unless I buy, 15, 20, 30,000 shares. But I don't really love doing that. So anyways, no trades on NXU for me. By the time I sat down at 7 a.m., it was below VWAP. It was already starting to pull back a little bit. So there was nothing to trade there. MINM, I pulled up and, it's funny because this thing gave a really nice pop like at 6:55 and right into 7 a.m., which is when a lot of retail traders come online. So not super surprising. The problem for me was that, there were a couple problems. So number one, MINM has a history of popping up and selling off. You see the red candle here, red candle here, red candle here. It's got a history of doing that. So that was the first problem. The second problem was I didn't see a clear catalyst for why it was going up. So I was looking at the news. I was trying to see what the news was. There was a statement of beneficial ownership here. I just didn't see anything that was significant. Let's see what this doesn't have anything in there. So, that for me, left me a little bit unsure about whether or not this was going to really hold up. So as it squeezed up pre-market, the first thing I was looking at was, well, it's got this pre-market high right here at $7. And it was sort of this, red topping tail candle. We'll pull up the 10-second chart on this. Now, this is the first stock I traded, so I did end up breaking the ice and taking some trades on it. And I actually did better than I thought I would, to be honest. I didn't expect to have this nice of a trade on it. So anyways, first trade on this one. The first trade, I bought 2,000 shares at 642, and that was at 701. So 701 is right about here. So right on that candle, I got in at 642. It, as you can see, had already popped up. It pulled back. Although it dipped as low as 628, maybe I was trying to buy the dip a little bit, but it just filled a little high because of the spreads. So I'm in 2,000 shares at 642, and it pops up here to 658. And I got a order of 5 shares filled at 656. 5 shares. That's ridiculous. I then got another partial order filled at 655. 656, 5 shares, 655, 199 shares. And then I bailed at 651 and 638. So I lost at 638 and 651 was a small profit. So on that first trade, I made $75. Okay. Now, if you recall, my goal each day is to try to build a cushion. I'm trading. My psychology is that I'm trading for income. While that's not exactly the case because I'm trading in a retirement account and I can't take the money out, I could afford to be much more loosey-goosey and just hold losers and wait for them to turn around. But I don't do that. I focus on making money consistently every single day. That's my goal. So on my first trade, I'm not going in with 20,000 shares. I'm zero on the day. My first order of business is to build my cushion, build my profit cushion, get green. And then once I'm green, I can start to lean in. So on my first trade, I'm trying to get up to $1,000. Getting that first $1,000 cushion is sort of the challenge. They say making your first million is the hardest, and then it's easier from there. Making the first 1,000 is the hardest part for me because each day, because that's where I have kind of the most risk and I've got to be the most careful. So on that first trade, I made $75. Then I got back in right here and I lost 150. So now I'm red 75 on the day because I got in and stopped out right down here. So, hang on one second. Go on out, girl. So anyway, she wants to go outside. So now I'm down 150. Whatever. I get back in right here and I made 300 on this trade initially. So I get myself up 150 on the day. It pulls back right here and I add for the break through 7 and I end up on this leg here getting myself up about $600, $650. Again, it's like, okay, that's profit, that's progress, but it's four trades in and I'm not even up $1,000 yet. So I was kind of thinking to myself, well, it is Friday after all. It's the end of what's been a great week. Maybe I shouldn't push it too much. So it pulls back a little bit. It ends up squeezing up to 740. This was at 7:09 a.m. So I did buy, 2,000 shares at $7.11. That was at 7:09 right here. It went up to a high of 744. I took a little profit off there. Again, making a couple $1,000, nothing super exciting. Sorry, making a couple $100, nothing super exciting. I got myself up just over $1,000 on the day. And then through this area, it's kind of choppy. So it pulls back a little bit. But right in here, so at this point, I started focusing on a different stock. And the stock that I was watching, now I can't remember, was it ADIL? I feel like it was a different one. ADIL. No, it was ADIL. So I started watching ADIL. ADIL hit the scans just after 7 a.m. And when it first hit my scanners, I was like, ugh, I don't really care about it. Why? No news. Big, shooting star candle on day one. Yesterday was an inside candle. I just didn't think there'd be any real reason for it to move up, and I knew there'd be resistance at $4. So I just sort of felt like, why? Why is this even going up? And it's a little cheaper. So I kind of felt like it was a distraction stock, not one that I wanted to really seriously consider. But it first squeezes up to $2, right about here, goes to 230, 240, 250, then to 255, then to 260, 270. I was like, man, all right, okay, yeah, this thing is moving to 270, to 280, and then it drops down, and it drops hard all the way to 240. This was about 7:30, and this is on the 10-second chart, and then it rips right back up to the highs. And I was just like, okay, I definitely didn't buy the dip on that. I didn't see that coming. And it goes to a new high here. But I said, this is actually a problem because the 5-minute chart is not set up. So let's look at what the 5-minute chart looked like at 7:30. At 7:30 this morning, the 5-minute chart looked like this. It started to squeeze up and then it dropped down and then it ripped back up. So I was like, the 5-minute is just even more extended now. So it started to kind of, so at this spot here, I was like, I'm not trading, that retest of 80 because the 5-minute chart's not set up. Now, it did end up giving us a new trade, and I did trade it. We'll talk about that in a second. But I said, I don't like the 5-minute chart on this. I just don't think it's ready. And I had MINM on my side chart on this monitor here. So I was watching both of them. Those were the two stocks I was focused on. And I was like, but MINM, on the other hand, this 5-minute chart is something I can work with. So that was right in here. That was a big circle. That was right in here. So it had made the move up. It had pulled back. And, it was starting to move back up. Now, the thing is, a little topping tail. In fact, this one made a new high and then it dropped down. But then this one, it pops up. So let's now look at this on the 10-second chart. So on the 10-second chart, right here, it starts to pop back up. So it popped back up to about 725, 727, and then it dipped back down. And now look at this. So it's kind of doing like a little ABCD pattern. And I was like, if this breaks 720, then we want to, of course, break that level. And then we're looking at a high a day. So as it was consolidating right there, let's see. So let me look for my order on this. So I ended up buying 6,000 shares. Let me just see where my order was. Sorry, I bought 4,000 shares, 2,000 shares, and then add another 2,000. And that was right as it broke right here. I was like, this was my best trade of the day. So I bought 4,000 shares. I added at 750 another 1,000 shares. It goes up to 760, 770. I sold 4,200 shares at 759. I was like, I'm going to take profit. And then I added back 8,000 shares right here on this micro pullback and added another 2,000 as it came up to 8. Right here, it breaks through 8, and I'm taking the profit off the table. So all of a sudden, I'm up $4,200 on this stock. This was solid. I was really impressed. This was a really nice breakout right here. So, I could have, would have, should have traded it with bigger size or made even more on it, but I was happy with that trade. I thought that was pretty solid. So, but then it did this sort of head and shoulders pattern and started to sell off as we got closer, sort of to my cutoff of when I had to leave. So as this starts pulling back, I was like, all right, well, that's side chart. And ADIL, I still had the chart up on it. And so I finish up the trade on MINM, and then I'm looking at ADIL, and I'm like, man, this thing, now it's had a 5-minute pullback right here. And as it squeezed up right here, I bought 10,000 shares for the break of 3. It pops up to 320 right here. So I got in at 3, which was a little extended. It was a $0.50 whole dollar break. I took my profit as it went up to 320. And then let's see, what time was this? This was this was 7:45. As it was going higher, I was like, I took my last trade entering 2,000 shares at 315 and selling that for actually a small loss when it dipped back down. And then I was like, I got to go. So it ended up breaking 320, squeezing up to 360. Looks like a bit of whip on this candle, like it flushed and then was back up. And then it pulled away up to 420, pretty much right into the resistance of the 200 moving average, which was 408, which was predictable. And then it sold off from there. So I did leave some money on the table on it, but at least I feel like I did, but it's certainly possible that I could have traded, kept trading, and in fact managed to lose on it. That can happen. It shouldn't always assume that I would have made money on it. So let me just look at that candle where it had that kind of whip. Right, so it was here. So it was like a false break of 60, a flush back down all the way to a low of 332, and then a rip back up to 60 and surging up to 4. Profit taking back to 4, resistance 390, pull back, back up, pull back, up, back, up, topping tail, topping tail, topping tail, sell off. Yeah, so interesting price action there. But yeah, nonetheless, ADIL definitely gave some decent opportunities. Now, looking at the scanners, there was also, let's see, BIVI. So BIVI, I don't know if any of you guys traded this one. I missed this because the news came out after I left. But look at that. News comes out and the stock goes from $1.20 straight up to $4.20. That's a huge move. So the pop here at 8 a.m. pulls back, then it comes back up, pull back, pop, pull back, topping tail, little topping tail. So looks like it had some nice dips approximately. I don't usually draw trend lines this steep. This is like a super steep trend line. But, you know, seems like that was kind of in play. So interesting on that. But yeah, no trades on that one for me. Let's look at the overall market. So S&P 500, just strong, right? So we're in the bull market right now. Overall market's in also a pretty steep channel. Let's see, was it like that? Can't remember. Yeah, something like that. So the overall market is really strong, all-time highs, which is great. IWM, the Russell, which is a small cap index, also pretty strong. Now, relatively though, this is off its all-time highs. The S&P 500 is at all-time highs. The Russell is still off all-time highs. Small caps tend to lag behind large caps, but I mean, in any case, I'm focusing on the small caps on any given day that are up 30, 40, 50, 100% or more. They have a catalyst, have a reason to be moving. And those are, you know, yes, I suppose if the IWM overall is very strong, it's going to help small caps in general. But, you know, I don't know. I've also had periods where the IWM was more or less sideways for a whole year, and I continue to trade small caps quite well. So yeah, so that's my breakdown for the trades from Friday. Green Day, first day of the month of March, and I'll do an upload of my weekly game plan for next week. I'll post that on Sunday and break down for you guys sort of how I'm going to approach the week ahead. We're early in the year, or still relatively early in the year, still in the first quarter, Q1. And we're obviously very early in the month. So we're all starting at the same place for the month of March. We got to try to build our cushion, get green. And then once we've got some profit, then that's when I'll kind of lean in and get aggressive if the market calls for it. But I'll go over my game plan in more detail in the next episode. All right, so I want to remind you guys, as always, that trading is risky. My results aren't typical, so manage your risk, take it slow, and I'll see you back here bright and early on Monday morning, live streaming for Warrior Pro members. YouTube, we'll get a recap Monday afternoon, and I've got some more uploads coming to YouTube soon. So make sure you guys check those out. And hey, if you're not already subscribed to the channel, hit that subscribe button, hit the notification bell, and then you'll get the alert when I upload a new episode. Okay, that's it for me. I hope you have a great weekend, and I'll see you on Monday.